I am so pleased to introduce today's speaker. She became the 5th president of the Columbus College of Art and Design last year, in March of last year. She's also the first female president of CCAD, and at the age of 40, is one of only 6 women serving as presidents of member institutions of the Association of Independent Colleges of Art and Design. As a Midwesterner, Dr. Corn says she's just so thrilled to be back here in Ohio and in the Midwest. She lives in Upper Arlington with her husband Tanner and 8-year-old son Julian. Now for an update on what's going on at the Columbus College of Art and Design, please welcome Dr. Melanie Corn.
Thank you, Joanne, for those kind words, and thank you all so much for the invitation. This is really exciting to be here and have an opportunity to tell you a little bit about what's going on at CCAD, and in a larger theme, sort of connect that to what's happening in Columbus and the role of the creative economy here in Columbus. So just to tell you a little bit more about me, as Joanne said, I have been here just since March. So I spent about 13 years prior to that at a peer institution to CCAD, California College of the Arts, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I was in a number of roles there, last of which was provost. The opportunity to come to Columbus to join CCAD was one that I really couldn't pass up. I was excited to come back to the Midwest. I grew up in Chicago suburbs and still have a lot of family in that area. And I was just really thrilled to be a part of this institution and this city. I think we're at such an exciting moment right now in Columbus that I couldn't really, even though people said, why are you leaving the Bay Area? People who didn't know Columbus, it didn't take me too much to convince them that this was a great thing. So a little bit more about CCAD. Columbus College of Art and Design was founded in 1879. We are a 4-year accredited, nonprofit higher education institution that delivers bachelor's and master's degrees. We're about 1,000 students, and we are, if you haven't seen our campus, we're located in the Discovery District right next door to the Columbus Museum of Art and Columbus State, and right in that sort of great area of arts and education. Our focus is on visual art and design, really combining a sort of broad liberal arts education with a preparation for creative careers. We have 12 undergraduate majors, including 2 new ones that are about to launch, and I'll tell you more about those later, comics and narrative practice and contemporary crafts. And we have 2 graduate programs, one an MFA in visual arts, and again, the second I'll tell you about later, which is new, a Master's of Design. I want to just show you one quick video. We'll see if this works here. That just gives you a little bit more of a sense of CCAD.
I think I've always been into art. I think I tried to do a lot of other things throughout my life since I was raised in Asia, so the ideals are a little different there, but it had to be art.
Please don't be creative. Please go into engineering, be a lawyer, be an architect. But I ended up just falling in love with art.
In high school, I got to a ceramics course, and I had a wonderful professor, and he kind of showed me that art is possible.
What made me want to come here specifically was just the stories of what the alumni get to do.
I think it just seemed like a really well-rounded program. Just the school radiated creativity.
What really got me was the student artwork was absolutely fantastic. That became the bar that was set for all the other schools.
First impression when I came here was, wow, I am in love with this school.
Columbus really just proved to be like this oasis of creativity.
We do a lot to try to balance professional experience and technical skills and creativity, and I think that happens all across campus.
CCAD has so many resources that I'm absolutely in love with. We're learning how to network, we're learning how to be professional. Here I'm getting everything I need to be a better artist.
The beauty of CCAD is the connectivity of all the departments. The student has that opportunity to be able to have different experiences and really broaden their horizons.
Columbus is super into art, which is awesome. So it's really great to come to a city and to stay in a city. I've stayed in Columbus because it's so supportive of the art.
It has an amazing nightlife. It has an amazing art scene. It's part of our culture, and it's amazing. There's always something to do.
It empowers the students to think in a more entrepreneurial way. If you want to start a business, it's possible. If you want to get into a gallery, it's possible.
There's one class and one professor that definitely changed my life.
I had a teacher who just kept telling me, this can be better, this you can do better.
They have pushed me to be the artist that I am. They've really helped me grow and realize that what I have to say is extremely important. If you want to embrace your work and continue to grow in your skills and in your craft and in your work, CCAD is a perfect place for that.
Since coming here, I work as an orientation leader, I worked as a creative coach, I work as a student agency, so not only have I enjoyed my time here as a student, but I can't seem to get enough CCAD into my schedule.
It's going to drive you crazy, and it's going to make you cry, and it's going to make you laugh, and it's going to break your heart, and then it's going to mend it again. And that's what makes the experience so magical and so fulfilling.
It's a place where you're going to become who you want to become, and I think that's invaluable.
So one of the things that I often say to people, especially sort of new faculty and others who are joining the CCAD community, is it's an amazing place to be. It's an amazing place to work because nobody's mom ever made them go to art school. You were working every day with students who are there because it's their passion. But I have to say, I don't think it'll be too much longer that I can use that line, because I think before too long, people's moms will make them go to art school, because art and design school is not just about, sort of fine art, art for the sake of art, though it still is, and there's nothing wrong with that, and we should support that, but it's also about really preparing people for excellent, amazing careers. And that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about today, which is sort of the role of the creative economy here in Columbus and beyond, and CCAD's role in that. So what is the creative economy? In 2002, Richard Florida said, "Creativity is now the decisive source of competitive advantage." And this was sort of part of a whole number of folks who were talking about the growth of the creative economy, helping understand, why now, what is sort of this moment about at the turn into the 21st century. Another important writer who spoke about this, Daniel Pink, said that the three reasons of sort of why now were abundance, Asia, and automation. So what did that mean? Automation, meaning that, of course, the kind of manufacturing world is changing, where more and more is being automated, so more of those jobs are going away. Asia, he had to get all the A's, so really that's about sort of offshoring of jobs, about moving of markets, about moving of manufacturing outside of the U.S. And finally, abundance. You know that you go into any place, right? You go to the grocery store, there are 100 different boxes of cereal to choose from. You're not choosing that cereal most likely because of the ingredients, because really they're all more or less the same. You're choosing it because of the design. You're choosing it because some product designer who maybe was educated at CCAD compelled you to buy that cereal because of the box. You're choosing your computer because of design. You're choosing your car because of design. That the abundance that is part of our world means that design, again, becomes that determining factor that helps us choose. So these were the sort of issues, I think, that emerged at the turn of the century to make the 21st century moment that we're in right now sort of about the creative economy in so many ways. So again, why does it matter? Arts and cultural production contributed $704.2 billion to the U.S. economy in 2013. And that's just the direct impact. So again, that doesn't include the role that creatives and designers play in all of those other peripheral areas. Again, Apple computers, right? Apple has design at its core. Pun not intended. So what about Columbus? Columbus's creative economy is a growing sector in our prospering city. So to tell you just a little bit more about that, these numbers are slightly old, so about 10 years ago. They've grown since then. So the creative industries in Columbus generated more than $3 billion in business receipts, $932 million in employee income, and $67 million in state and local tax revenues in 2006. And there were 18,000 plus people employed in Central Ohio's creative industries and nearly 12,000 working in creative occupations. So again, this is 10 years ago. And as our economy and city has grown over those last 10 years, so have those numbers. We are also the number 6 city in the nation for creatives, according to Smart Asset, and the number 1 best city in the US for job and population growth. So to me, sort of these things coming together, we are a city, again, that has a low cost of living, a lot of growth, and a lot of development, and we're also a great incubator for creatives. We have a large educational system, of course, with OSU and with many other smaller colleges around. About 150,000 college students live in the Columbus area, and many of them choose to stay. So we have sort of, I think, the right ingredients, the right recipe to grow our creative economy. So, thinking about that on just a couple different examples. Fashion, of course. Fashion is huge here in Columbus. We are, in fact, the number 3 fashion design city in the United States, behind only New York and LA. I tell people that who don't know Columbus, and they are shocked. They don't believe it. And then I start going through the many, many brands that have made their home here in Columbus. Of course, much of this because of Les Wexner and the beginning of the Limited and the L brands. But again, since then, Homage, Abercrombie and Fitch, L Brands, Zulily, but also smaller companies like Alternative Fashion Mob, which is sort of thinking about entrepreneurship and individual sort of startup folks as well, to sort of accompany the large fashion design industry here in the city. But it goes beyond fashion design. So we also have a strong part of our economy that's really focused on advertising and graphic design. So again, companies large and small, GSW, Summerfield, S77, going from very large company to very sort of small company, all located here in Columbus. But of course, if you think about every other industry, whether it's Jenny's Ice Cream, whether it's Nationwide, State Auto, all of these companies require the work of advertising, graphic design, of the sort of creatives as part of their team. Whether or not that's their core mission, they're still doing a lot of their own marketing, internal, external as well. So what is CCAD's role in this? How is CCAD driving the creative economy? What do all of those companies that we just talked about have in common? They were all founded by or have strong participation from CCAD alumni. So many of our alums leave the Columbus area and go on to prosper around the world, but more and more of them are choosing to stay here because they have access to this great community of fellow creatives. We have, again, grads around the world in most sort of major brand names you could think of, related to design and the arts. Whether that's Lego or American Greetings, Pixar, DreamWorks, Paramount, Google, Facebook, and those are just the major companies. And of course, our alums have also started their own companies. They've also, began, working in small startups, working as freelancers, and they're doing that everywhere, but again, especially here in Columbus. So beyond design, though, whether it's fashion, advertising, graphic design, how does art shape the economy? The nonprofit arts in Columbus generate $226 million in economic activity and provide 8,500 jobs, according to the Columbus Chamber of Commerce. This is a big part of what we do. Many of our CCAD alums are founders and upper management in businesses, here in the Short North area. They are the owners of galleries, the folks who are starting small stores, restaurants. When I got here at first, I was sort of really thrilled to see so many of our alums who started restaurants. One might not think that makes sense with a fine arts or design background, but really I think the sort of creativity of the food industry is very connected to those who are working in art and design. That many of our sort of aspects of our city really rely upon the arts. One of those reasons, I think, is that that people, sort of come here and stay here because of the arts and culture in a city. That Columbus artists are not only, sort of running their own shops, but they are making a living and therefore paying taxes and supporting other local businesses. So artists, as well as designers, I think play an important role in the economics of our city. But again, I think in terms of attracting others to come and stay, the art and culture sector is an important part of really what makes a city great. You think about why people come and stay. Again, I came here from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I had a number of folks out on the West Coast who didn't know anything who said, why would you go to Columbus? And I told them about what an amazing city this is. And of course it was about, this is a place where people are friendly, where there's a low cost of living, where business is thriving. But what did I also tell them about? I told them that this is the #1 city for festivals, that this is a place that has a strong art museum and an opera and a symphony. This is a place, that prides itself on its, amazing zoo and its amazing libraries. This sort of cultural aspects of the city are really, part of what makes a city not just livable, but lovable. If you think about other great cities, Austin, Nashville, San Francisco, cities that are sort of in that moment of really sort of being, kind of on the rise, being well known. Again, what makes them? The art and culture scene, the design, scene of Apple and the Silicon Valley in the Bay Area, the music scenes in Austin and Nashville. These are places where people want to stay, where they're leading great lives and helping to build that city. Here in Columbus, this is another image here, where, again, our CCAD grads are blurring the lines between art and design, where our artists are becoming entrepreneurs. So Stump Plants is a small store near Wineland Park that was started by Emily Brown, who got her degree from CCAD in 2016 in industrial design, and Brian Kellett, who is a photography grad from 2007. Emily got the idea to start this business, which is a plant store, essentially, that sells succulents and other kind of small, home goods. She got the idea to start this business after working on a project about garden centers through a CCAD course through our Mind Market, which is sort of one of our connectors to the corporate world. I think creative placemaking in a broad sense is an important part of our city. So again, not only for the more established art scene, like in the Short North, but also the artist scene in Franklinton, places like Mint Collective and smaller artist communities where you can be experimental, you can be entrepreneurial. Again, I was working in the Bay Area, and it was hard for me to tell, young grads who had acquired debt for sure, in paying tuition, to take a chance and make it in San Francisco, where rent, by the way, was about $3,500 a month. That's hard to do. But you come to a place like Columbus, where you've got this amazing, sort of opportunity, not just in Franklinton, but in many places around the city, where you can say, you know what, your debt isn't as high, your cost of living is far cheaper. You can rent a place with some friends and live on the cheap and really make a go of it. You can experiment. You can try to open that artist gallery, create an artist collective, start your own business, and that's the kind of sort of entrepreneurial spirit that I think really is a part of this city and that our alums are contributing to and taking advantage of. I do want to take one moment, though, to talk about the fact that, of course, this isn't just about economic gain. Art and design is also, I think, an integral part of how we can change the world. And I mean that for all of the sort of, bigness of that statement. I'll embody our president for a minute, the hugeness of that statement. I really do believe that art and design are an important part of social change. I say that because artists and designers are, at their core, creative problem solvers. Most of our world problems, whether it's food, water, energy safety, they are problems that need creative problem solvers to be part of interdisciplinary teams to work together. So our alums are also doing that. Two quick examples: Jason Moore, advertising and graphic design alum from 1996. He started a branding and design agency called Fulcrum Creatives. This is an image from their work. Fulcrum is a B Corp, a benefit corporation. So while profit is still important, they're not a nonprofit, profit is important for Fulcrum. But the company also seeks to have a positive impact on the community, the environment, and their workers. And they do a lot of work with other sort of local community organizations to help them with their branding and design challenges. Another example, AJ Vanderelli, graduated from CCAD in Fine Arts in 2008. She runs the Vanderelli Room in Franklinton. She helps boost the neighborhood and its reputation as an arts hub, but she also considers herself an art facilitator and works with a teenage artist, for example, who has autism, so that he has the tools that he needs to make art. So again, I think artists and designers are using their creative skills, for good. So what is CCAD doing next to advance the creative economy? We are, of course, constantly looking out at the fields in which our alums work, thinking about, what are the needs, what are the majors, what are the learning outcomes that are needed to help advance those creative fields. Our curriculum is evolving to meet the demands of the creative economy and better prepare our students to join that economy and jump right in, not just as contributors, but really as leaders. So a couple of quick examples. Again, I told you at the beginning, we have some new programs. We are launching 2 new majors this coming fall, one in contemporary craft, which again will be related to fine arts, but is sort of looking at the different sector that the craft world works in. Also comics and narrative practice. Columbus, as you may not know, is a hub for comics and cartooning. And so we're taking advantage of that market. But finally, also a Master's of Design that is looking at sort of bringing an interdisciplinary group of designers into leadership positions. So all of our students are benefiting not just from those new majors, but from a growing business and entrepreneurship curriculum at the college. We have just concluded a new strategic planning phase that we'll be releasing out to the public soon. And it's really about building the future with a focus on people, prosperity, and prestige. That we are sort of paying attention to, sort of how we can, again, better prepare our students and be part of our city. So what can you do? Hire and pay artists for their work. So as I said, artists and designers work in all different sectors of the life. Austin, I just read an article the other day, is embedding artists in every one of their city departments. So again, whether this is about the sort of civic arena or the corporate arena, artists and designers have a lot they can contribute. Of course, I also want you to brag about Columbus and CCAD. That again, I think Columbus is still too much an unknown to folks outside of the Midwest, and we want to make sure people understand that Columbus, is smart and open. That CCAD is an engine of Columbus's creative economy. Go see art. It's everywhere around you. Participate in the art and culture scene here in the city, and support arts and education organizations. Whether it's CCAD or the museum or the symphony, creativity, again, I think is really what makes the city great. So with that, I will conclude and say thank you so much.
We have time for a few questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have time for a couple of questions from the audience.
Interviewing and what it was like for you. I know you're filling big shoes. Yeah. I'm sure the search committee put you through your paces.
Yeah. So sort of what it was like for me to interview and get this job. Yeah. So I'm sure many of you had the privilege of knowing Denny Griffith. I also knew him, even though again I wasn't in Columbus. We were sort of part of that that art school network. What an amazing guy, an amazing leader. Definitely figuratively and literally big shoes to fill. So when I went through this process, I think the search firm and the sort of senior team. It was a multi-stage. I mean, a sort of typical leadership search process, multi-stage. One of the things I will say that was remarkable is that often I think these types of searches can be very clandestine. I mean, people are in other important roles, and they're not necessarily they don't want everyone to know they're applying. But the search firm, I think, because the faculty and the staff at the college wanted it, we're very committed to making sure that those finalists, were able to come to campus and meet openly with people. And I was willing to do that, obviously. I thought it was an incredibly important part of the process. I think, unlike perhaps some other corporations, an education system is not a very top-down kind of place. You have to have faculty buy-in, I think, in order to lead. So that, I would say that was sort of one of the most important things, was really getting that sort of faculty input and buy-in. And for me to, I think, be someone who might seem like a risk a little bit. Yes, I am young, but I'm 41 now, by the way. Not too long before I'll be 42. But at the same time, I really was a safe bet. I knew art and design schools, and so I think that was something that appealed to them as well. Yeah.
Since we provide service to the community, that's certainly the thrust of our club. What ways can Columbus Rotary work with CCAD to further bringing art into the kinds of things that we do?
That's a great question. So how can the Rotary and CCAD partner? I think again we benefit already from Rotary scholarships, which is wonderful, and I know it's one of the great things that Rotary does. I think that there are likely a number of ways that we can continue to build out more types of partnerships. I know, again, that Rotary also does tutoring and works with youth and others. Again, sort of a creative education is a strong fundamental education. So there may be ways in which we can work with you, whether it's our students, who are working with Rotary members in again working with youth for sort of art and design, kind of creative learning and tutoring, and I'm sort of stumbling through more examples, but because I'm not totally sure yet, but I have no doubt there are more things, and I know we already have some talk of follow-up conversations about Rotary and and CCAD, and so I think those will be part of those conversations as well.
In the back.
Yeah, I think there was. Yeah. Yes.
I wanted to ask, with everything that's going on in the creative economy in Columbus and all of the corporate headquarters, and then the companies that are still privately held but are large entities and significant contributors to our economy, I'm going to kind of channel our new president as well. How do we get more businesses to think about naming their creative resources here in the region or in Columbus, as opposed to thinking that they have to go to Chicago or they have to go to San Francisco or New York for good talent? What role do you see CCAD playing in maybe getting that industry advanced, the reputation of that industry in Columbus advanced a little?
We still have, of course, folks here who, outsource their marketing and advertising, to, a big firm in New York or Chicago, for example. I think part of it is just doing things like this. Again, I mean, this room is full of corporate and community leaders. I think that, we have started already to meet with sort of individual companies, whether that's sort of, meeting with some of the, again, more sort of directly related, design companies where our alums are. But also, we met with, the head and some of our alums working in marketing, for example, at SafeLight. We've had meetings with folks from Nationwide, Huntington, so I think part of it is sort of starting those conversations, at all levels to kind of make sure that people understand the resource that is here in Columbus. I'm helping to sort of make some of those connections with some of the strong, design and branding firms that are here in the city, and again, doing what we can do to sort of help build that pipeline right away. So, we have a strong career services office. Again, part of our strategic plan is building that even bigger. Making sure that all of those companies know that they should come recruit from CCAD. CCAD, for interns and for, as well as for employees, through our career fairs, et cetera. So that's one thing I think that we could do, but I think it's a great point, and I agree. I think more people can take advantage of our local resources.
Dr. Corn, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it.
And this meeting is adjourned. Thanks for your attention.